Finally, we are back with another video. Alright, I did look at some of the comments here and looking through the CG art as well, I noticed, where is she? There we go, there she is. She doesn't get up, but I noticed that I didn't see Beel in this whatsoever. But someone mentioned that I did a good job, in which I saved here, so I can see either Cerberus' side and then Beel's side. So anyway, let's go with this part. I might actually cut after this, in case it's like the exact same thing, because it just might have straight be. But we'll see. Is escape from the abyss possible? Lucifer leans forwards, a slight scowl creasing her face. I see you've been moonlighting in the court of the Queen Crimson. It seemed Judgment's suspicions about you were correct. Well, she seemed lonely. Is that so? Good. Sighing, the Queen of Hell takes a sip of her wine, exuding an air of mild disappointment. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. You've always been rather incorrigible. It's what I like about you in the first place. However, I don't think you understand what you're asking for. I think she's fed you some... What? Some cock and bull story about my reason for imprisoning her? Actually, she's been rather clandestine whenever the subject is brought up. Why do you have anyone? Unusual. Unfortunately for me, I cannot in good conscience grant you your request without informing you of the potential consequences of freeing that will fly from imprisonment. A long time ago, Beelzebub and I were among the closest of friends. Virtuous, fledgling demons freshly come into our own. She was the second to join my cohort, my revolution, and together we waged war on the, at the time, Lords of Hell. Justice was the third, right? Then who was the... Lucifer raised a hand, cutting you off. Careful, you've already asked me your question. Don't push your luck. We had intended to supplant the four lords and roll in their stead. But the plan went awry. You told me your friend was taken from me in a spiteful act of senseless wrath. Following our Pyrrhic victory, we dealt with our now ex-lords, stripping them of as much power as we could and casting them into the mortal world. Oh, quit your whining. Move along now. Ouch, easy there. I ain't as well padded like as you. What is the meaning of this, Beel? I ask you to dispose of the four as quickly as possible. I've dealt with the other three as you requested, but this one requested the final audience with you, Lucy. Speak, Mammon. What is there left to say? Yes. Well, first of all, I wanted to apologize for the actions of Santana's and assure you that they do not reflect my own interests. Change is good. Sometimes ventures crumble, only to rise again from the ashes. I've always prized my ability to recognize talent, and darling, you've got the stuff. If you think flutter will get you anywhere, Fox, I've got a ship to sail you. Get to the point, Mammon, before I have Beelzebub throw you into the mortal world to join your exiled sisters. Right. Well, as you know, the throne of hell has always been shared by four demons. A balance to ensure one doesn't overstep the bounds of her civilization, lest she be devoured by her confederates. So it has always been, however, after the incident, I think you're short by one demon. Well, I still count four of us here. What happened to your companion was regrettable, but surely you and I can reach an armistice. I do not intend to split hell once more under diverse rules. Instead, I alone will take sole stewardship of the underworld. Hell will be united in peace under my rule. What delusions is this? Hell united? Don't make me laugh, friend mine. You need someone at your side who knows how the whole system works. Someone who's used to holding power. Someone like... You'll be happy to know that Justice has volunteered to step down from her position as High Prosecutor and will instead be acting as my advisor in the years to come. As for you, don't think you'll get off so easy. What have I ever done to you? I didn't join the other three in fighting. I didn't do anything. Your crime was complimentary. Oh, that's a really nice shot of Lucy. Complacency. You made no effort to save either your companions or mine. No, I think you deserve to share the same fate as your friends. And I certainly hope you're more tolerant of your obsequious ways than I am. What? You can't do this. Not to me. Your reign ended when we struck you from your throne. Come along now. No sense in causing a fuss. Bell was always inclining towards being envious. I should have known my elevation might cause some tension between us. You wanted to see me, Bell? Wow, that's quite a austere chair you have there, Lucy. It is, isn't it? It's far more practical than those horrid ebony thrones. I heard you've sealed off that part of the castle. Too many bad memories. Speaking of, have you decided on what to do with the Revenant? I can't bring myself to keep her in the castle. Now when I've arranged to have her transferred to the second circle, I think she'll be happier there. You aren't here to commiserate with me, however. What is it that you want? I've dealt with Mammon. We won't be seeing her or any of her ilk again. However, yes. Well, Mammon did make a fair point back there. Are we really sure we shouldn't share power? Only for a little bit? Just long enough? We've been through this, Bell. History shows that it's impossible for multiple demons to rule hell in a peaceful manner. Inevitably, they turned their lands against one another for sport or glory. We did a single rule to lead us into a peaceful future. And you're sure that demon should be you? A year ago I would have thought it possible, but now? No. It has to be me. Personal loss doesn't qualify you to lead a kingdom, Lucy. Perhaps you're letting your grief cloud your mind. Think what we could do if we shared the throne. The queen of the land. Everything would be ours to do with as we liked. A whole world we could shape into our image. You're starting to sound like that insufferable demon of greed. That is a really nice shot of both of them, bro. Nice. Leave me be, Belle. I hear no more of this talk of backtracking. Our only way out is through the mess we've got ourselves stuck in. Fine, if you won't listen to me here, I'll have to find another way to obviate the flaws in your logic. This isn't the end of this conversation, Lucy. Although it pained my heart to do it, Belle had too much power to be left unattended and embittered. I resolved to find a permanent solution to her Mitunia's impulses. I believe Belle is planning to double-cross us. I fear not. I have not come so far only to lose it all. That's an interesting design for justice. Okay. Are you asking me to do what I think you are? Yes, I have one more job for you before you retire. I want her dealt with, but I don't want her to suffer. If you can sufficiently weaken her, we can be able to imprison her in the abyss. The only pain there is loneliness, but I believe we can take measures to soften even that. As much as I hate to admit it, I agree. She's too ambitious to be satisfied with holding second place in the pecking order. Sooner or later, she'll try to overthrow you as we did before. I'll do this for you as my final job as High Prosecutor, the final act to protect Hell. We moved quickly, wanted to consolidate my power before Belle could find a way to undermine it. Justice managed to suppress her long enough for me to invoke an opening to the abyss. Lucy, you betray me now? After all we've done together? You'd consign me to an empty waste? Is this how you treat your friends? The Beel I used to know would support my actions. I simply cannot let you jeopardize my vision. Rest now, Beelzebub. Rule as the sole reign of this sovereign-less void, if you'd wish it. I assure you, in the abyss no one will challenge you or your aspirations of power. I've seen to it myself. Lucy, I can't hold her back much longer. I hope you choke on that throne of yours, you viper. I won't rest until I've found a way to escape this Okay. Ooh. I've closed the rift. You can relax now, Justice. Justice? Oh boy. Sorry, Lucy. She got me good during our fight. Oh, Justice. Eyes. Quite the... I have no idea how to pronounce that. Feeric, I'm guessing. Quite the Feeric victory, wouldn't you say? Looks like you won't have to worry about my design on the throne. Broke my heart to lose another of my closest allies, but I couldn't let it all be for nothing. If Beelzebub had superbed me, there'd no telling what could have become of hell. Lucifer sits back as she finishes her story, taking a long drink from her glass of wine to wet her throat. So now you know the inherent dangers of the information you seek. They don't call Beelzebub the mother of lies for nothing, you know. Whatever she's told you, anything she's promised you, the Beelzebub I knew would have walked back on them in an instant if she had something to gain from it. So, do you still want to know this knowledge? I feel like we'd go back to the other scene there, so I'm going to say yes. Yes, I believe Beelzebub has changed from the demon you once knew. And even if she hasn't, we can bind her again if we need to. You've got confidence, albeit slightly misplaced. You underestimate Beelzebub, Taker. The things she'll do to see her ambitions through. But very well, I shall tell you of the key. So there is a way out? Well, yes and no. I couldn't bring myself to consign a former friend to a bleak eternity based solely on suspicion, so I added a little caveat to her sentence. If she could prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that she is not the threat I believe her to be, the key will make itself known to her. It's a key inside the abyss with her. And all she has to do is escape is prove herself? Prove herself to be what? Kind? Loyal? Submissive? That's for me to know, but rest assured the monster I thought I was imprisoned would never be able to escape, no matter how long she tried. It remains Beelzebub's responsibility to shackle her Leviathan and prove herself worthy of release. So takes her hand in hers, squeezing them firmly. It's good to know I have your confidence. You know full well you have more than that. Okay, I think it's kind of shifting back to where it was before. Let me see this through, and I'll get back to the video, but if it just ends straight up like this, I'll cut to that. We'll see. Oh! She appeared. So this is how you unlock Bell. Alright. Well, let's get straight into it then. Shortly after you and Lucifer return from your dinner, you make your excuses and retire to your room for the night. Everything seems secure on this end, at least for now. We've got wards up to defend ourselves in the event of an assault, and everyone's getting along well again. I don't want to leave the house, but I do have some information I need to give to Beelzebub. Is it worth the risk? let's travel to the abyss. Reaching into your closet, you pull out your old all-purpose ritual carpet. With a swing of your arms, you spread it upon your floor, the white pentagram adorning the center shining brightly despite the dust covering the textile. A few mothballs tumble across the room, shaken loose from their resting place by your enthusiastic brandishment. You step into the center of the pentagram and pause, searching your memory for the steps required to open your own portal to the abyss. Let's see if I still remember how to do this. The movement flows out of you like a familiar dance. The instructions forever buried into your subconscious from the moment you saw them, inscripted in the worn stone tablets. Down, up, right step, left, up, left step, down 2 steps, left, up, or repeat the last 2 steps backwards. This is literally just telling you like how to do this whole part at like the end of the game so you can find Beelzebub. A silent flare of light, the familiar swirling portal appears in front of you. Without hesitation, you step forward into the swirling vortex. Picking portals created by professionals with centuries of experience has made the gap in skill between them and you even more obvious. As you are hurled backwards and forwards through dimensions, you make a mental note to bring along motion discomfort bags the next time you decide to go reality hopping. Eventually, reality begins to consolidate around you, accompanied by the familiar buzzing of flies that permeates the abyss. You find yourself standing in a large, darkened area. As you try as you might, you can't see so much as your hand in front of your face. The only sensation you can track is the slight squishiness of the ground beneath your feet. It feels similar to something you've experienced long ago, but you can't quite remember what it is. A soft hand grips your shoulder, surprising you. As you try to jerk away, it tightens, rooting you in place. A soft voice whispers inches from your ear. It's been a while since you last visited. You sure like to keep a girl waiting, don't you? The crypt loosens and you turn around to see Beelzebub standing behind you, glowing softly. I actually do really like that design for her. The house has been in disarray. I didn't have time to come see you. Getting the information from Lucifer from the Abyss required more time than I anticipated. However, I think I've managed to get her to open with me about it. She told me that. Beelzebub reaches forward, pressing a finger to your lips. Her voice is hushed and unusually wary. Hold that thought. We have much that needs our attention. I've been rather busy with renovations as of late, and I bit off a little more than I can chew. We must be careful not to draw them in before we're ready. Them? What are you talking about? Not here. This is too exposed. Follow me. Deftly navigating the pitch-black darkness, Beelzebub leads you through her castle by the hand. It might just be your imagination, but you could swear you heard things moving around in the blackness surrounding the two of you. Small sharp things, invisible in the gloom, catch at your legs as you walk past. Unnerved, you pick up the pace. Beelzebub ducks into a small cove, and you follow suit. The two of you huddle pressed against each other in the tight space. Alright, Belle, what's going on around here? An ominous thought crosses your mind. Have the four lords launched an attack on your realm soul? Beelzebub snorts, shaking her head. She begins to explain. Ha! I should feel so included. No, as I said, I've been working on some remodeling of to the castle proper. Nothing complex, of course, just moving one of the ballrooms up to the 400th floor, Jesus, and adding some bathrooms at regular intervals. You know, that sort of thing. But I've been hearing strange things. I found rooms smashed into powder. The work of decades destroyed in a matter of minutes. I think my patch job on the wall of the removed rooms have been sloppy because something got in. It's been rampaging through my castle. Worst of all, I think it's been braiding here. You're the Queen Crimson. Why does this thing have you hiding with your tail between your legs? Surely you were more than a match for it, or it would have preyed upon you while you were building your castle. Beelzebub casts a glance to one side before answering, presumably scanning the secluded environment with some unknown ability. I do rank among the strongest of demons. The thing that calls this place home are probably in a different weight class altogether. Primordial predators perfected in form since the dawn of time. The void is an endless expanse of pure antediluvian nothingness? What does this word mean? Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna look this one up. Because that one's bugging me. Okay, so this word is pronounced as antediluvian, and the adjective for it is of or belonging to the time before the biblical flood. Oh, okay. Or ridiculously old-fashioned. Antediluvian. Okay. I'm amazed it didn't take me long to run into one. Do you want me to leave? You can always send me back to Earth if whatever is loose in your castle is too much for you to handle. A little smile flashes across Beelzebub's face, and she presses a little closer to you as she answers. What? Give up my bait? What's your bait? Why, you are, my dear taker. Tell me, if you are a mighty shark cruising the ocean depths, what would your first choice? What would you first choose as your meal? A mighty squid, all teeth and beak? Mighty in its own right, or a little salmon out of its depth and struggling to survive in the deep? Aw, don't give me that look. You've always been so eager to lend me a helping hand. Besides, it's not like I can risk sending you back right now anyways. Explain, before I go off to try and find a way back on my own. I have reasons to believe magic is the primary food source for this invader. Have Walter crunched some numbers, and the savage rooms have all had an unusually high concentration of magical constructs in them. We theorize it may be drawn to larger, unnatural sources of magic, like animates, geomatics, or extraplanar travel. I don't know what that means. So the portal I took here, Beelzebub nods, accompanied by your fleshy mortal scent, of course, should bring it rushing here post-haste. You cast a glance around the massive room, searching for some gargantuan creature hiding in the dark recesses of the chamber. So, what exactly is my role in all this? What do you expect me to do? Act like prey. Be your appetizing mortal self and lured in with the show. Ugh. With a sigh, you begin walking around the room as suggestively as possible. How the hell do you do that? Moments into the task, however, you collide with a waist-height, unyielding bit of architecture. Ugh. Sorry about that, I forgot you can't see in the dark. Here, allow me. A ghostly light flickers into being above you, illuminating your surroundings. Gaunt pillars of rough-hewn stone ring a massive rock-strewn room. Tables and other assorted furniture is smashed to pieces by something or other litter the far wall. Squinting at the far walls, you realize you recognize the general layout of the room. This is the same room where we had dinner all those weeks ago. Indeed it is, or rather, it was. The room was one of the first casualties of our uninvited guest. So are we just going to wait here for the predator to do to us what it did to this room? Hardly. I'm going to set traps in the adjacent rooms. By the time it makes its way here, it'll have gotten its own little taste of what hell's truly capable of. So does that mean you're just going to leave me here? Beelzebub shrugs. Unless you'd prefer to accompany me in setting demonstrably lethal traps in pitch blackness. Ugh, the wording in this sometimes is just straight up, difficult. Well, hurry back then. Beelzebub nods and sets off down the corridor, leaving the pale blue light floating behind to illuminate the former ballroom. You idle a bit of your time while kicking at the rubble that lay strewn across the ground. Stones don't seem to be subject to the same physics as they do on Earth, gravitating unerringly towards the far side of the room. You lose yourself for a time tossing stones at unusual angles and watching them boomerang back towards you in midair. As you wing a particularly sharp rock into the air, the level of light shifts slightly. The level of light shifts slightly, shadows lengthening on the wall. Distracted, you remember the airborne projectile just in time and throw yourself to the ground as it whizzes merrily past you. Frustrated at interruption, you call out to Beelzebub. Hey, Bell, stop screwing with the light. I almost brained myself at the last rock. No reply comes from Bell. Beelzebub. Turning, you observe that she still has yet to return from her sabotaging of nearby rooms. The orb of light, however, is moving across the room, seemingly without anyone controlling it. Tracking its arc, you realize it's following the same general trajectory as the rocks, drawn inexorably towards the far end of the room. The ball of blue light continues to glide across the room, heading towards one of the twisting pillars that moves. Suddenly, you back away as the thing disgustingly distinguishes. What? Disguising. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Disguising itself as a pillar stretches and unfolds. Long black tentacles rake up the air, seething around a massive horn-like body supported by three huge asymmetrical legs. The creature's skin is covered in jagged, sharp-like pieces of stone that grind together with horror and cacophony as it moves, like sandpaper being pulled over a chalkboard. Stone rolls across the floor, drawn into the creature as if by a magnet. Even as you watch, the floating light is drawn towards the crown of the creature, which opens like a mouth to receive it. Before the light is drawn into its body and extinguish it, you catch a glimpse of the creature's mouth, cavernous, and ringed with rows upon rows of glittering needle-like teeth. Once more in darkness, you continue to slowly make your way backwards. Senses peeled for any sign of Beelzebub. Sounds emerge from the darkness, methodical steps accompanied by the terrible, ever-present, grating noise. Slowly placing backwards in the darkness, you trod upon a loose piece of rubble, sending you pitching to the ground with a shriek. The creature ignites in a sinister glow, barreling towards you with preternatural speeds. Inches from your face, the massive hammer of stone swats the creature into the ground. Looking up, you see Beelzebub, gesturing with one hand where the magic is keeping the earthen mallet afloat. She extends her other hand to you, helping you off to the ground. That is still really nice artwork of her. Looks like I got back just in time. You dust yourself off, observing the twitching creature with interest. Beelzebub doesn't seem to share your interest and tugs at your sleeves to get your attention. We have to make our escape while it's stunned. We don't know what it's capable of. Looking around, you locate a large shard of basalt. The hell with that. We've got it on the ropes. Now as good as the time of any to make sure it can't come after us again. There's a chink in its armor near the head. One good blow and we can say goodbye to the monster's problem. Okay, I like that. Wait. Her protest comes a moment too late. With her cooling swing, you bring the sharp rock down on the creature, exposed neck. With a crunch, the creature's head falls to the floor, severed neatly from the rest of the body. You pick it up, seeking to confirm your suspicion. As I thought, this isn't an organic or magical creature, it's just a stone puppet, a golem. Well, if that's the case, we should make our escape before the puppeteer has a chance to regain control of it. No need. I'm familiar with these constructs. Most of them are controlled by an encryption etched into its head. Once disconnected from the body, the whole thing becomes relatively harmless. Let's have a little look and see what the inscription from this one is. It might give us some idea as to who sent it. I really don't think that's such a good... Something the matter? What do you see? This head has Beelzebub Incorporated etched into it. Really? Huh, must be the brand name. Yes, I see. Well, I mean, there might be more of them out there. I'm going to go take a look. Have no fear, I shall return. You do that. Feel free to come back when you've got your story straight. Beelzebub hangs her head, but takes off into the darkened corridors, leaving you alone again in the room with only a faint glimmer of light to illuminate the darkness. Hold on, Beelzebub's gone. Why can't I still see a little light? A minute mote of light is illuminating the black room, casting the ruined columns into soft relief. Squinting, you can see the light pouring through a chink in the wall. Picking your way over the rubble, you approach the light source cautiously. Pressing your eye to the wall, you peer through the breach to see a most confusing sight. Illuminated by soft candlelights, Walter the skeleton sits at an obsidian desk prodding at a mass of small, interlocking parts strewn across it. With a muted crunch, the rest of the wall gives away, causing Walter to look up from his look. Walter, what are you doing here? The old skeleton fidgets uncomfortably, eye sockets darting from wall to wall. Master Taker, I was, just engaging in an old hobby of mine. Just a little bit of puppetry. Strange, that puppet of yours looks suspiciously like the golem Beelzebub and I just destroyed. What a terrible coincidence. Walter. Yes, good sir? This is a pantomime, isn't it? A setup by Beelzebub to make me stick around in the abyss. Walter's shoulders sag. It appears the game is up. I thought as much. Beelzebub was acting far too suspicious for this to be anything else. For someone who claims to be the mother of lies, she is awfully bad at concealing the truth. Please don't judge my lady too harshly, Master Taker. The truth, it was I who suggested we put on this play for the amusement. The idea breathed fresh life into my lady, and she set to it at once with vigor I haven't seen in decades. How on earth did she build a golem that complex? There's no slouch when it comes to construction, but it's barely been a week since the last time I was here. And creating a script on top of that. How did she do it, Walter? As I'm sure you picked up during the course of your visits, time flows differently here, sir. By my estimate, it's been several of your Earth years since last you graced us with your presence. Several years? Quite so, sir. But you needn't have any fear about my lady's mental state. She's grown quite adept at keeping herself busy over the eons. I do believe she's spent the last few months calculating pi to see if it really does go on forever. However, whenever she feels you're about to appear, she always gets excited. Seeing her happy like that again pleases me to no end. All this game she is playing may be esoteric. It would do my dusty heart good to see you humor my lady in her mischievous endeavors. I suppose if we have the time. Excellent. I must hurry to repair the golem. I must not let my lady know of your discovery. But I won't distract her while I assemble another monster pursuing the two of you. You nod, stepping out of the room. At a small gesture from Walter, Stone rushes in to fill the void in the wall, leaving you again shrouded in darkness. Taker, where are you? I'm over here, just resting by this wall. Casting her light once more over the room, Beelzebub joins you in sitting by the wall. I didn't see any signs of any more golems or whoever is controlling them. Did anything unusual happen while I was away? Nothing toward, but I think we're earned a break regardless. Which reminds me, I had a few unanswered questions about your exile to this plane of darkness. Oh, what might they be? Lucifer told me what happened before you were exiled. Her vision, I'm sure. Lucy doesn't know everything, though she likes to pretend otherwise. So, you're trying to tell me you weren't planning on taking the throne away from her? No, well, not at first anyways. That's not supposed to reassure me. You were just biding time until you decide whether or not to betray your queen. It's more complicated than that. We fought the four lords of hell under the assumption that we would make hell a better place. However, I never fully trusted Lucy. She's always been one to let power go to her head, bossy at the worst of times. But just when we were emerged victorious, she went and declared herself supreme poobah of hell. There was some vindication of my fears, and we were dead set on the collision course. Vindication? What do you mean? Beelzebub sighs. Following our costly victory, Lucy ordered the former lords cast out of hell and into the mortal world. With no obvious outlets for regaining their stolen power, we thought it would be best the last we would see of them. However, just before I threw that slimy demon of green through the portal, she made a rather compelling argument. Wait, before you throw me through, won't you at least hear me out? Again? Fine, but make it quick. Why should we get all the glory, all the power? You got to be more than a little envious. Ask yourself this. Who would you rather see sitting on the throne a century hence? A totalitarian despot, or an empathetic queen who's willing to adapt to new situations? So that's your angle. You want to sow the seed of doubt in my mind in hopes of destabilizing Lucy? Oh, enemy mine. I think we both know I'm a little late to the party on that count. Well, I guess this is where we say goodbye, eh? Think about what I said. If you ever need me, you know where I'll be. That's the long and the short of it. Ammon has a way with words, whatever her faults. They burrowed into my mind and squatted there, impossible for me to ignore. Inevitably, I was forced to betray Lucy to quell my own raging conscience. That's not true. You're manipulated by the fox into questioning Lucifer at the wrong time. It is all a misunderstanding between you and Lucifer. Manipulated, betrayed, even though I'm not 100% certain how much of my decisions were fully my own. Beelzebub eyes you up, chewing on her lower lip. What? Well, is that a good enough confession for you? It's good enough for me. Now comes the time where I fulfill my part of the bargain. I learned something about the abyss from Lucy. Beelzebub talks right over you, squashing your declaration like an upstart caterpillar. Oh, but we have so much more to do. The West Wing needs exterminating. I'd like to pursue the golem into an art installation and so much more. Besides, I'm sure your discovery can wait until we've seen to the more immediate issues. I have a list somewhere around here. Wait here while I go get it. Despite your protestations, Beelzebub assumes her visage and buzzes off into the black sky, undoubtedly heading for one of the uncountable towers that hover overhead. Stuck on the ground, you kick at a piece of rubble, frustrated. A polite cough sounds behind you. You turn around to see Walter standing there unamusingly. Maintaining unflinching eye-to-eye socket contact, he raises his hand and coughs again. Can I help you with something, Walter? The old skeleton nods soberly. Sir, if you'll forgive my relapse in propriety, I overheard you trying to broach a particular topic of conversation several times with my lady. If I may ask, are you planning to propose marriage to her? The question hits you like a sucker punch, knocking you off guard. Your reply comes out jittery and unfocused, thrown by Walter's suggestion. What? No, I just wanted to... Saving you from yourself, Walter smoothly steamrolls over your sputtering, a reproachful tone creeping into his voice. If that is the case, I must advise you to temper your expectations. My lady cares for only one thing, an escape from this prison. Actually, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to her about. I think there may be a way for her to escape. It might even work for you as well. Walter slowly turns to face you, eyes socket widening. It might be just your imagination, but perhaps there's a slight timor in his voice as he gently takes your hand, his voice hushed. You're quite sure? Sir, I must advise you, if you've brought my lady some false hope, sprung into the fairy tale, I'm afraid I may have no choice to remove you from the premises. It's the truth. I got it directly from Lucifer herself. Walter snorts. Twin clouds of dust shooting out of his slits where his nose used to be. The one who ordered her imprisonment, hardly a reliable source of information. I think she was telling the truth. She had no reason to believe she would live out the night. What motivation would she have had to lie? An awkward crash heralds the return of Beelzebub in her fly form. The transform quickly unravels, leaving Beelzebub halting a sack many times her own size, slowly over to you and Walter. I couldn't find a list, but look at this. Turning the sack upside down, Beelzebub what? Unceremoniously dumps the contents onto the ground. Balls, wickets, hammers, nets, and all sorts of alien game pieces scatter across the ground. I found all my early designs for the sport of my own invention. Beelzebub. Just wait, you'll love it. First thing you do is Walter steps forward, placing a placating hand upon Beelzebub's shoulder. My lady, I'm sure Master Taker would like nothing better than to play more of your games. However, I believe you need to hear what he has to say. I believe he has found some definitive information regarding a possible escape from this dimension. Oh, that's old hat. He'll tell me later. Isn't that right, Taker? Bell, why are you avoiding this answer so tenaciously? I'm almost convinced you don't want to hear it. Beelzebub slumps forward. My lady, you have been searching for a way to escape this place for so long, hoping against hope that there's a flaw in the prison. Hearing what Master Taker has to say will allow you to know if your hopes are warranted. Hope? Hope's all I've had for comfort in my eternity here. What do I do if your information takes that away from me? Enjoying your fleeting visits until you two pass from this world? Maybe it's better to lie to myself and keep searching for a way out of my own. Better an eternity of foolish hope for an eternity of, what, endless nothing? And what if it's good? And what if it's good? My life hasn't been good for eons now. Why should it have cause to change? So what? There's a way to circumvent one of the most powerful pieces of magic ever conceived. Good luck selling me that one. Is it really what you want? To live in fear of the truth? No. You're stronger than that. Stop hiding from the future, Belle. Fine then. Tell me what you've learned. There is a way out of the abyss, according to Lucifer. She said that a key would make itself known to you given the right circumstances. Walter puts a hand on Beelzebub's back. His voice bursts with barely contained excitement. My lady, this is stupendous news. We must renew our efforts to secure your escape. This key must be found if you are to win your freedom. Beelzebub steps backwards, hugging herself. Not sure. The skeleton puts a hand on its mouth, aghast. But my lady, this is what you've dreamt of these millennia past. A chance of freedom. A chance to take revenge on those who've wronged you. What could possibly compel you to throw that all away? If I were to return, who would welcome me back? I have no reason to believe any of my old friends would accept my companionship once more. Walter places a bony hand upon Beelzebub's shoulder, his voice like iron. Then you take back what they stole from you, an eternity. Who among them could stop you doing whatever your heart desired. I'm more than just a petulant child, Walter. Nothing good would grow from the fires of that grow from the fires my envy would light, just more pain. Instead of me taking what they hoard, my return would herald me inflicted what I suffer. The Crimson Demoness shakes her head sadly. I can't force people to love me, and I must learn to accept my place in the world, as well as the beings that share my horizon. Seeking revenge at this point would just lead to more of the same. If that's why I would escape, then where is where I should remain? Walter steps back, something almost resembling a smile placing the bony features. He sighs, a sound that speaks of the relief of uncontrollable millennia. Reaching out, he clasps Beelzebub's hand with his own. His words bubble with joyful pride. Well answered. Congratulations, my lady. Truly, you are not the monster we feared you might be. An innocuous sound made conspicuous only by the absence of others faintly reverberates throughout the room. Confused, all three of you turn to the source. A single finger bone lays on the ground, slowly crumbling into an ashy powder. Presently, a second falls to join the first. As one, you and Beelzebub look up to Walter. His skeleton has a sheepish, almost apologetic air about him. Even as you watch, the sleeves of his outfit begin to fray, adding quickly to the growing heap of powder on the ground. Oh dear, it seems my contract has indeed expired. After all these years, if you'll permit me to be a bit cheeky, my lady, I never thought I'd see the day. Shocked out of her stupor, Beelzebub speaks, her voice catching in her throat. Walter? What is the meaning of this? I command you to stop right now. Pull yourself back together. Her protestations are brought to a halt by Walter, who politely holds up a disintegrating palm. His voice comes out a little slower than usual, and a little quieter. You can tell the efforts of speaking is costing him. My lady, I must apologize. For centuries you have been a prisoner, and now once you were introduced to your jailer. I was tasked with tending to your needs if and until you were deemed fit to re-enter society. It appears my career has reached a rather conclusive end. Is there anything we can do for you? The aged skeleton slowly shakes his head. Even as he does so, wisps of hair drip down from his head. I'm afraid not, sir. It was my job here that I was holding my old bones together. Now it seems that you've no more need of me. Walter, that's not true. We'll always have need for you. Alas, it seems my retirement is at hand. Walter attempts to straighten himself up, brushing the fast accumulating dust off of his shoulders. With a crunching sound, his arm disconnects. Falling to the floor with a muffled thump, he sighs, and turns to Beelzebub. My lady, whatever my assigned task may have been, serving you has been the greatest pleasure I've ever known. If you would be willing, might you assign me a final task before I rest? Beelzebub steps forward, embracing the worn-down skeleton in her arms. Holding him securely, she nestles the worn skull in the crook of her shoulders. Of course I can. Walter, you have done your tasks better than any butler ever has. Please, go in peace. Walter's voice is barely audible, no more than a whisper. Why, of course, my lady. Your wish is my command. The old skeleton collapses in on himself. Old bones petrified by untold millennia of service crumbled to dust. A sigh, almost of relief, stirs the ashy pile at your feet. Walter's voice, faint and fading fast, whispers to no one in particular. My job is done. And what a job it was. From the pile of dusty remains, a small glimmer of gold winks out at you. Kneeling, you gently feel around in the pile. Your hand closes around a small rounded object. Standing again, you dust it off. A small golden key shines in the palm of your hand. That's what Lucifer meant when she said the key would make itself known to you. I didn't expect it to be so literal. You extend your arm to Beelzebub, offering her the key. No, I'm not ready to go out there. Not yet, anyways. I'm not sure how I feel about Lucy. Besides, someone's got to take care of his remains. Would you like me to stay with you? I know how time works here now. It wouldn't be any trouble. Beelzebub shakes her head. Kind of you to offer, but no, I'm fine. I think this is something I need to do on my own. I'll depart the abyss when I'm good and ready. With a gesture, the portal home springs to life in front of Beelzebub. Before you take your leave, you press the golden key into your hands. When you're ready, we'll be waiting. Turning, you leave the abyss for what you hope will be the final time. Wow! That's... Damn! Okay, from... so... I think at this point, I'm gonna make one last video about this, being... rating every single story from this. Because... I want to say this right now, that most of these stories are just like fantastic, dude. Like, I know the first ones were pretty good, the second ones were a lot better. These ones are just like a step higher. Like, I am blown away for how good these are. But I think with that, we can probably finish up the video here, because that one was very long. So I have one final video I need to make on this, in which is just rating every single story from my perspective, from how I've seen it, and then I can get your opinions on that too if you like. But anyway, all my social medias are down in the description below if you want to check me out there. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day.